Welcome to a new podcast. This is Everything with Everett, a talk show podcast hosted by Everett McConaughey from Boise, Idaho. The purpose of this production is to share thoughts, voices, and information to further a discussion on who we are as individuals, communities, and a global presence. Everything with Everett is open to all topics of discussion: faith, religion, history, finances, and well, everything. Follow, like, listen, and subscribe. Visit everettmcconaughey.com. Today on the podcast, Rush Limbaugh.
He is exaggerating the effects of the disease. He is moving all around and shaking, and it's purely an act.
The party that is now calling for unity over his death, yet refusing to acknowledge the division, hate, and vitriol that came out of his mouth onto America's airwaves. Today is March 3rd, 2021. Good morning. So today I would like to follow up on something that has kind of been sitting in the back of my mind. It's a few weeks old, but I think it's time to address it. Rush Limbaugh, as you might know the name, was a very popular and successful conservative talk show radio host. I will give him that. He had a gift of gab. He knew how to play the ratings. He knew how to make a name for himself. And he went from small town, market radio guy to nationally syndicated host. He was carried on KIDO when I worked for them. Then when I moved to KBOI, they ended up picking him up. So he's a staple in conservative talk show radio. He's kind of the golden boy of the empire of AM talk. I've never been a fan of Rush. I don't like the things that he says. I think that he's been divisive from the beginning. I think if you don't have that opinion or don't see that, then I guess we don't agree on facts. It was once told to me that Rush probably didn't believe everything he said. But I feel like you kind of have to be able to say some of the outrageous things that he did. You have to internalize it at some point. Maybe initially you don't believe it, but you have to keep convincing yourself that the lie is true to sound convincing. He was trying to get listeners and trying to have a huge following. So he had to believe it at some point to sound credible to his conservative sheep that followed him, into the situation that we're in right now. The party of Trump. The Republicans are gone. I feel like the classic Republican Party as we knew it died decades ago. And there's been some, branches that have remained in Congress that have been withering away. And unfortunately, the party's been hijacked. I mean, they talk about the radical left taking over the Democrats. Hello, people. Trump is the radical right, and he took over. And quite frankly, I think one thing we can all agree on is our elected officials, Democrat and Republican. Here's the unity, folks. They don't represent us. They tout, oh, I'll help you, and then they get into office, and they don't care. They do not care. And we can't hold them accountable because guess what? It takes an act of Congress to get them sanctioned, and we don't have that power. So Rush Limbaugh created a lot of the forces that we have going on, and this whole discussion kind of got started. I shared something on Instagram, my personal Instagram, about him having a segment back in the day during the AIDS crisis. And apparently he had special theme music and stuff going on. And he always had that slogan for his show. It said, "Rush is right." And I shared it and I captioned it with "Rush is dead." And a local real estate transplant from Nevada, who now lives in Boise, former friend of mine, never interacts with me on anything chose to send me a message in response to this story. She said, "Where is the unity? Let the man have respect. I highly doubt he did a segment about that. If so, prove it. Why do I have to prove that a nasty man did or didn't do something? Like, why can't they go look it up and be like, oh, here's proof that they didn't?" So I let it sit. And then this morning I finally shared a fact-checking article that says that it's true, a very independent source. And I shared, quote, Iowa's Cedar Rapids Gazette reported in 1990 that Limbaugh's AIDS update, a recurring segment in which he made jokes about a disease that had killed more than 100,000 people in the United States in the previous decade, started by playing songs such as Back in the Saddle Again, Kiss Him Goodbye, I Know I'll Never Love This Way Again, and Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places. The AIDS update segment was short-lived, according to the New York Times. It ended after a few weeks. Limbaugh would call the segment one of his most regretful things I've ever done, because it was making fun of people who are dying long and painful, excruciating deaths. These conservatives only apologize when they're caught. Ted Cruz, everybody. They only, I sat on that plane and I immediately had regret. Ironic that you have regret after you already started something. Anyway, I'd like to play a segment of, this came out after the public acknowledgement that Rush Limbaugh had lung cancer. I think it was stage 4. He was basically terminal. And this was during the second half of Trump's presidency. And it kind of has a nice summary of the issues that Rush Limbaugh championed. I do want to warn you, there are some outdated, antiquated, and racist comments that Rush makes in this segment. I apologize if they offend, but it is appropriate in context to share them as is. So, without further delay, Mr. Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh is, as you know, a conservative firebrand and a radio talk show icon. Now he is battling advanced lung cancer. Limbaugh is at the center of a new controversy after President Trump awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. CNN's Sarah Seidner has more on this.
As long as you're here Monday, I will tell you what happened.
Rush Limbaugh rose to fame with his gift for political gab on talk show radio and later online.
Somebody to stand up for you.
The conservative talk show host's words reach millions, including the ear of the man who has become president. As Limbaugh faces a deadly battle with lung cancer, President Trump has awarded him the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Rush Limbaugh, thank you for your decades of tireless devotion to our country.
Limbaugh has lived the American dream, but at the same time, he's used his words to make a mockery of that dream, sometimes sharing xenophobic, misogynistic, and racist sentiments with the masses. This is how he chose to speak of a New York Yankee icon the day he died in 2010.
Steinbrenner has passed away at age 80. That cracker made a lot of African-American millionaires.
In 2011, Limbaugh decided to mock the Chinese president during his visit to the United States.
Hu Jintao was just going ching-chong, ching-chong, chong-chong, chong-chong, ching-chong, ching-ba-ba-ba.
Limbaugh attacked those who didn't share his political ideas with a fervor and harshness that stood out amongst his talk show peers.
As you might know, I care deeply about stem cell research.
When actor Michael J. Fox, who suffers from Parkinson's disease, did this ad for a Democratic candidate who supported stem cell research, Limbaugh pounced.
This is Michael J. Fox. He's got Parkinson's disease. And in this commercial, he is exaggerating the effects of the disease. He is moving all around and shaking, and it's purely an act.
After outrage over his comments, Limbaugh apologized the next day, saying, "I will hugely admit that I was wrong." In 2012, when a Georgetown law student spoke to House Democrats to support mandating insurance companies cover contraceptives, Limbaugh called her a slut and a prostitute, and then this.
So Ms. Fluke And the rest of you feminazis, here's the deal. If we are going to pay for your contraceptives and thus pay for you to have sex, we want something for it. And I'll tell you what it is. We want you to post the videos online so we can all watch.
He later apologized for that, too. But he reserved a great deal of his racist comments for one man, Barack Obama, both as president and as a candidate. In 2007, as Obama campaigned on hope and change, Limbaugh debuted a racist parody of Puff the Magic Dragon, sung by a candidate for chairman of the Republican National Committee.
Barack the Magic Negro.
Then Limbaugh defended his decision to air it.
Every one of you out there that think you've got something here on Barack the Magic Negro, I'm going to try to help you and save you.
His adoring fans believed he was saving them from liberal bias, but his critics recognize he also delivered hateful rhetoric that helped usher in a new era of extreme political polarization. Allison, John.
All right, Sarah Seidner, thank you very much.
That clip was from CNN. It's so disgusting and disturbing, the things that Rush said. He, touted the birtherism, trying to discredit the legitimacy of Barack Obama being president of the United States, saying that he was Muslim and born in another country, and he was a racist man who was anti anyone other than white heteronormative Christians. And I'm sorry, this isn't a matter of disrespecting a dead person. This is calling somebody out for the arrogant gas bag that they were. He is nothing respectful. And if you defend his positions and, we should just, be respectful and polite, like, wake up. That's abusive. That's wrong. We need to start calling these people out. The 60s and 70s are over. The day and age of, don't question grandma. She's old and the patriarch of the family. Or don't question grandpa. He's grandpa would be the patriarch. Grandma would be the matriarch. Don't question them because they know. Don't question the pope. Don't question the bishop or the pastor or the clergyman. Don't question them because they know best. No, they don't. And that's part of the last episode about religion being an escapism. It's deferring action in this actual life and presence that we have right now. We don't know about heaven. We don't know what's coming next. But we need to start holding people accountable during their mortal lives. If heaven exists and God's gonna, and it's all true and God's gonna damn them to hell for being an asshole, great. Let's damn them to hell on earth too. If someone's being abusive to you and being rude, you need to call them out and let them know. The days of, accepting gaslighting and these alternative facts and not acknowledging the truth need to end. We need to unite over knowledge. We need to take back our lives and say, you know what? No, this is fact. This is what really happened. Like, who's ever going to trust the history book if it's decided by political parties and constantly back and forth? If there's this narrative that, the liberals want to have teach about the AIDS pandemic and crisis from the 80s, and we don't want gay history in our rural Salmon, Idaho classrooms. It's something that really, as you can tell, ruffles my feathers. And I think that we need to do a massive about face. I'm happy that Rush Limbaugh's dead. It's about damn time he got off the radio. And I hope, someone's going to fill the vacuum void. We know it. That's just how it is. And a lot of these talk show hosts say bombastic things just to get listeners. What else are you going to do? No one wants to turn into, the 3 hour PM drive show if it's all just kumbaya, roses and beautiful flowers. It'd be nice, but who's we as Americans have this really sick addiction to uninhibited testosterone and aggression. We want to be pissed off. We want to be mad. Fuel the road rage, like get fired up about something and then, oh, grandma cut you off. Let's, pull out a weapon and confront her on the side of the road. That's what America is becoming under the Republican leadership. The party of Trump nowadays. So, anyway, Rush Limbaugh died February 17th of 2021. He was born January 12th, 1951. Like I said, the only credit I give him is he figured out his way up. He figured out how to become somebody. He was a showman. And yes, he deserves all the respect for that. He did a great job. He got syndicated, but he also became so powerful, just like Trump did. And now we have people who are in a bind that don't really represent those ideals, but they can't say that they don't because it can cost them their re-elections. And our political system has been hijacked. The Republican Party, like I said, is no longer a humble Christian conservative, oh, let's just cut back spending. It's division and hate and anger and animosity by pitting people against each other as the enemy. The media is the enemy. The liberals are the enemy. All a liberal wants is progress. All a liberal wants is pro-life, where everyone has a right to housing, healthcare, food. We're pro-life beyond controlling a woman's womb. But all a conservative wants to do is throw a doctor or woman in jail if she needs an abortion or chooses to have an abortion. That's the Republican Party. They want to defund Planned Parenthood, forgetting the fact that they treat, they're rallying, oh, Planned Parenthood does abortions. Well, Planned Parenthood does other things as well. They do, condoms, sex education, health screenings for communities. Small communities that don't have a legitimate doctor practice. People have to go to these small clinics. And they don't think about what they're truly calling for when they say defund Planned Parenthood, make it a crime. Anyway, I'm so over this day of sitting back and not calling out these brainwashed sheep masquerading as elephants in the Republican Party. I hope you have a great day. I will talk to you next time. Let me know your thoughts. Call or text 208-391-2808. Have a great week. Thank you for listening. Join the conversation. Send a text message or leave a voicemail at 208-391-2808. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and several podcasting platforms. All the information at everettmcconaughey.com.